also a doctor, so I first want to ask you what you're feeling and what you would do and what you know about what's going on in terms of the medical situation and the health situation inside Gaza right now.
I'm in touch with our colleagues. We have a big operation there with the health organizations. And I'm sorry to say that what Gaza is exposed to now is nothing but 3 war crimes committed by Israel. The first one is siege and collective punishment, which is a war crime by international law. The second one is genocide through this terrible air bombardment, non-stop, of civilian population. And the third one is ethnic cleansing, which already started in the north, and they're planning to continue it towards Egypt. Regarding the health situation, the situation is drastic. Hospitals and health services do not have water, do not have medications, the necessary medicines. They don't have electricity. There is a scarcity of all resources. We have children in incubators who could die at any moment because of lack of electricity. And lack of oxygen, by the way. We have women, 50,000 women in Gaza at the moment are pregnant, and 5,500 of them would be giving birth this month. We already have cases of women who had to give birth in streets because they have no home to be in after Israel destroyed 70,000 homes already in Gaza. There is a very big problem with the patients who need kidney dialysis, and many of them will die, including 130 children, because they cannot have access to kidney dialysis. We have a very serious possibility of epidemics in Gaza for 2 reasons. Okay. First of all, the destruction of water pipes as well as sewage systems. And the second one is the absence of any vaccination program during all the last 2 weeks.
Mustafa, can I ask you a question?
It's a very drastic situation.
Yeah, it is drastic, so does the UN say the same. Both sides are accusing each other of war crimes. I want to know your reaction to people like Yair Lapid and others who say it is on Hamas's head. This round is on Hamas's head. They massacred 1,400 people, took 199, including babies, hostage, and they are bringing this hell down on their people as well. And it does seem to be, there's a perpetual fight between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority, and I guess people like your party as well, about who should properly run Palestinian affairs. Do you not ascribe any blame to them as well?
Look, it's not unusual for Israelis to claim that Palestinians are responsible for killing Palestinians when they are bombarding them. And I am so surprised about what Lapid said, because he's supposed to be an opposition leader, but I don't see any difference between him and Netanyahu. I think, I'm sorry to say, that he's competing with Netanyahu and telling lies, like saying that they warn Palestinians before bombarding them. This is not happening anymore. They are bombarding people without them knowing. And even, I mean, what gives you the right to destroy 70,000 houses over people's heads and claim that this is against Hamas? This is an attack not on Hamas. It's an attack against 2.3 million people in Gaza who are besieged. He said something important. He said, not again. And I'm going to give him a prescription of how not to have anything again so that no Palestinian or Israeli will be killed. End occupation. End the system of apartheid. Stop this occupation that has been there for 56 years. You have done 10 wars already on Palestinians during this period of time. How many more wars do you want? Is the solution of occupation to reoccupy Gaza again? I am sure the Israeli plan is not only to evict and ethnically cleanse Gaza completely and reoccupy it, but also to annex it to Israel. This is the map that Netanyahu showed in the United Nations. A map of Israel that includes the annexation of West Bank, annexation of Gaza Strip, and annexation of Jerusalem. Mm-hmm. These people are conducting war crimes now, and this is not good for Palestinians and Israelis. And let me say, Hamas did not exist 40 years ago. What stopped them from ending occupation? Why they speak about Abbas coming back to Gaza now? Why Mr. Lapid and his government refused even to meet with Mr. Abbas? Why did they block all kinds of negotiations with Palestinians? Why did they block all the peace processes? Nobody can hide the truth. And the truth today is 3 war crimes are happening in Gaza, and this should be stopped. And I am so surprised that the United States is sending 2,000 troops to participate, not only in being complicit with these war crimes, but to participate in them.
The United States has said, Mustapha, the United States has not said that it's getting involved. But I want to ask you something about Hamas. You said that it didn't exist, 40 years ago. Thomas Friedman, as you know very well, who knows the Middle East very well, wrote in the New York Times, quote, "One must never forget that Netanyahu, meaning the Prime Minister, always seemed to prefer to deal with a Hamas that was unremittingly hostile to Israel than with its rival, the more moderate Palestinian Authority, which Netanyahu did everything he could to discredit, even though the Palestinian Authority has long worked closely with Israeli security services to keep the West Bank quiet, and Netanyahu knows it." Do you agree? Of course, Israel's ambassador to the UN last month said Abbas, quote, is no partner for peace. And they've said that. Why would an Israeli government or prime minister, quote unquote, prefer to deal with Hamas than the PA, which is internationally recognized?
Because they think that this is the easiest way to dehumanize Palestinians and to undermine the Palestinian cause. The solution to the internal Palestinian problem was very simple, to have new democratic elections. Had we had elections in 2021, all the polls have shown neither Hamas nor Fatah would have gotten a majority. We would have had a pluralistic system, and no one-party rule would be there, neither in Gaza nor the West Bank. It would be a democratic system. But who blocked the elections? Israel. Who was against having the elections? The United States. Why, for God's sake, these countries that claim to be democracies want to prevent us from or allow us from having democratic free elections? I do not think, I do agree that Netanyahu does not want Palestinians to be unified. For him, it's easier to say, if Palestinian Authority goes to unity with Hamas and have democratic elections, he says that Palestinian government is dealing with terrorists. Mm-hmm. If we are divided, he says, I cannot talk to Abbas because he does not represent all Palestinians.
Okay, so
it's a game.
Let me ask you this.
And the game is to undermine the Palestinian people.
So let me ask you this. As you know very well, your president or the president of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, is exceptionally unpopular, 87 years old, no elections in many, many years, hasn't groomed a successor, and has been completely undermined and is undermining the Palestinian cause wherever it might be. So what I want to know from you is, Hamas appears to be trying to outmuscle you all. What do you think the end of this is for the Palestinians? And what is happening right now inside the West Bank? Is there a possibility that this could flare up inside the West Bank?
We already have 56 Palestinians killed in the West Bank by the Israeli army, and something more dangerous is happening. This is now not about Hamas, it's about Israeli settler terrorists. The Israeli settlers are illegally in the West Bank, and they are attacking Palestinians. Up till now, they have evicted 20 Palestinian communities, conducting an act of ethnic cleansing in Ramallah, in Jordan Valley, and in Hebron. And they are attacking Palestinians, civilian Palestinians. Already, as I said, 56 Palestinians are killed in the West Bank. And of course, people in the West Bank are totally angry, and they are demonstrating against the Israeli invasion. And although these demonstrations are peaceful, non-violent, they are attacked with guns by the Israeli soldiers who are killing them. I competed with Mr. Abbas in 2005 for president. You know that. Yep. I was second in these elections. I do not agree with many of his policies. And especially, I do not agree with the fact that he did not allow elections to continue and take place. But at this very moment, all Palestinians are subjected to attack by the Israeli extremism, by the Israeli apartheid system, and by the Israeli occupation.
Mustapha.
And that cannot continue.
Mustapha Barghouti, thank you very much for being with us. And I also just want to explain, when he talks about ethnic cleansing, that means many Arab leaders are incredibly concerned about the forcible transfer of population. And the King of Jordan is talking to as many people as he can. They're very worried, as I put it to Yair Lapid, that Palestinians will be shunted out of Gaza and may not have the right to return. So that is what we've been discussing throughout the day as well on this program, on this network.